Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I certainly hope you are well. By the time you see this, it will have been the bank holiday for me. It's the Sunday of the bank holiday and I'm just having a moment to appreciate this sunshine, heat. I love it. My neighbours are out doing their bits and bobs too. Just while I remember it, because obviously the birds chatter in the background, like the little sparrows, lovely. I noticed a behaviour in them earlier on that I'd not seen before. So normally when I see them, first thing in the morning, I come to my back window and they're all over the patio, pecking away. They are generally ground feeders, and especially sort of autumn, winter, into spring, their diet is mostly to do with sort of grain and seeds, and they'll forage on the floor. But apparently, I didn't know this, during breeding season and when they're rearing their young, they go much more over to insects. And what I'd seen in the last few days, and I was watching just at lunchtime earlier on, it's just lovely to watch, where my chard is now in places 6 foot tall, it's going to seed. They've been in there, clinging on to the stems, pecking away. For insects, it makes sense, feeding insects to their young. So I went and had a little look on my computer about their diet, what are they eating, because I knew about the seed, the grain, what have you. It could be noisy. But apparently, yeah, they'll go for aphids as well, so flies, caterpillars, what have you, aphids, and I was thinking, brilliant, maybe that's what's protected me from having black fly in the broad beans. I hope I haven't just jinxed myself. Anyway, I have taken 2 of my broad bean tops out for black fly, but that's it. That's all I've had. And by now, as we're heading towards June, I would expect there to be quite a bit. But yeah, maybe it's the sparrows are helping me, and now the train's going to whistle. Anyway, that's not what today's about. Today's about the first harvest of the year. Actually, just before we do that, I did say at the end of the last garden video that I'll catch you up on the prickings out, the sowings and what have you. So I'll quickly show you that, and then let's get stuck into the first harvest. Actually, it's going to be 2 harvests. Or maybe I should just sit here a moment longer. I have just been into town to get myself a treat for later on. Town is heaving with people. I'm not surprised. A gorgeous weekend. It's bank holiday and it also leads into half term. But just everywhere I look, people just smiling and so happy. And what a great weekend / week to pick to come to Swanage. So yeah, I'll do a bit of this after harvesting. Come on. This is where I got up to. I decided, I think that one's, yeah, this one's the replacement courgettes and the cukes. That it's so warm at the moment, I thought, yeah, let's just start them outside. Don't need to take them indoors. The kale, lettuce, that's some gigantes beans, that's the pricked out honesty, the pricked out hollyhocks, and the foxgloves. These are the Gary's foxgloves, Gary from London. They're not quite big enough to prick yet, but yeah, so they can just sit there. The cosmos seem perfectly happy in there. Obviously everything's going to need a good watering later on. Yeah, and I've moved the garlic away from here to the stuff, hello, that was in bags, so the broad beans are flopping. I've moved it away because my back is still really cronky, so I'm going to do them at the table. But that's the bag ones, but then it's a different type in this bed, so we'll come to this bed in a minute. Let's get stuck into the ones in the bags, because that's the Isle of Wight ones, which I'm hoping will be of a good size. Oh, and reference to the chard, talking of how tall it's grown. Look, all that there. Oh, and also, just in case anyone was thinking they're not going for insects, they're going for the seeds. The seed heads haven't quite formed yet. Let me show you a bit more closely. That's where the seed is trying to form. They've not been, that's not what they've been going for. I've watched really, really closely. They've been going up and under the leaves to, like I said, what I can only imagine is aphids. So, right. Okay, enough of that. Let's get harvesting. I'm just in the shade here. Sunshine, shade. I don't mind for a moment though, because it is really quite warm in the sunshine. For the rest of this week, because it's going to be supposed to be lovely all week, I'm planning to use my mornings indoors, admin, other kind of filming, and then afternoons out here to make the most of it, to really make the most of it. And I'm going to be tackling the shade garden, so that's great. I can spend a bit of time in the shade doing that, and then when I feel like I need a burst of sun, come scooting back out of the shade garden and plonk myself on my bench. Right, light as a feather now, because I haven't watered. Oh, hang on, let's get this stray hair out of the way, otherwise it's going to annoy the whole video. I haven't watered them at all since, I think, yeah, it was towards the end of April. Obviously they got plenty of water over the winter, it rained every day. So I stopped watering. I didn't want them to get mouldy. I might not even need my horry knife. How far down are they? Oh, now these are the Isle of Wight ones, so I was hoping they'd be quite big, but looking at this first one, oh, you're a pickle to get out. Come on. Oh my goodness, there's nothing to it. It's an absolute tiddler. Well, that's very, very disappointing. Are any of the others any better? Let's have a look. When you're harvesting, don't be tempted to just try and yank them up. You don't want to snap the neck, because you're basically breaking the packet. Oh, blackbird. You know, this is a perfectly formed packet for storing them in. Tiddler. This Isle of Wight garlic are massive. Oh well, you know, it's better than nothing. And what I have found in the past is, you know, on my allotment, I had some real tiddlers, but they weren't half pungent. So where a recipe might call for, say, 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, I found one would do the job. They're all fur coat and no knickers. All that on the top and just that on the bottom. Heck, you know what? I'm not going to complain. I'm not complaining, because the compost that's in these bags, what did I have in here before? This might have had the squash in or something. So it's not cost me anything apart from buying a bulb to split up into its clove parts to plant. Oh, I've got volunteer tomatoes going in this one. They're coming out. Yes, I know I could keep the volunteer tomatoes. I don't have space for them. Yeah, so it's the cost of the bulb, but also in terms of cost, in terms of space. They didn't take up any space. It's not like I've sacrificed another crop in order to grow these. So I see it as a bonus. A tiddly bonus. I'm looking at this bag now, because these stems are considerably thicker. But like I just said, about all fur coat and no knickers, a thick stem doesn't necessarily mean a bigger bulb. Come on, Gertrude. They've got really tenacious little roots. No. Didn't make for a bigger bulb. Okay, well, I'll get on and finish this lot, and then let's go over to the bed, because the ones in the bed were just a bog standard bulb of garlic, bought in the supermarket, split up, shoved in the ground. Let's see if they did any better. Let's see, you know, just thinking about it now, having talked about this compost being spare, the compost, it was kind of spent because it had, I can't remember what was in it. I think it was probably the squash. They would have had something in them last year. So maybe there just wasn't enough nutrient in the compost for the garlic. Maybe they could have done with a feed, you know, sort of like a comfrey feed or a nettle feed or something. And maybe the ones in that are directly in the bed, maybe they'll have done better because there's more nutrient in the soil. We'll see. Let's go over there and have a look. Whew, warm in the sun again. Okay, so I'm going to get to the garlic down there, but this whole bed now can, I was going to say start to be cleared. It needs to be cleared. Oh, my back. Just get the brassicas out of the way. These will all need chopping into the compost. So I put them by my chair here. They can be done this evening or late this afternoon when there's just that last little bit of sunlight coming around. I'm just going to get the biggest out of the way for now though, so we can see what we're doing. I always leave them to go to flower because the flowers are a great, fantastic source of food, early food for the bees, before there's much else going on in our gardens. Gosh. I don't feel at all acclimatised. Thermals a week ago. Oh, my back. Yeah, thermals a week ago. And now I'm scotcho. Let's get to the stars of this bed. Hopefully they're stars. It's so bright I'm struggling to see what you're seeing. But I hope you can see down the front here are a couple of the lettuces that were little tiddly plugs that Paul brought about 7 weeks or so ago now. I think I'm going to have one of those for my dinner, but never mind that. Let's see what happened to the garlic in the bed. And of course, can't resist. Once the garlic are out, I can fetch out the 2 chard that are in this bed and the big brassica, and start getting this bed ready for the summer stuff. Oh, don't yank it, Vivi. Any better? Not really. More tiddlers. So that's, like I say, it was just a bog standard supermarket one. That one is the Isle of Wight. I had a spare Isle of Wight. Can you even see that? Honestly, it's so bright I can't see my screen to see what you're seeing. Oh, that's a bit better. I mean, it's not exactly huge, but the Isle of Wight in the bed did better than the ones in the bags. I thought, oh, the smell. Gosh, that's gorgeous. The smell of warm soil and garlic. Oh, heaven sent. Now, how am I going to get this one out without damaging the lettuce? Where are you? Tiddler, tiddler. Anyway, I will get them all up and dry. Should we have a little chat about storing? Oh my goodness. The other thing, I mean, that's just still a clove, for goodness sakes. The other thing I'm wondering is, we had a really, really mild winter and 0 frost. So I'm wondering if that's affected them as well. So this winter was pretty much non-stop rain, but really mild. And, you know, we know rain brings with it lots of nitrogen, so maybe that's done me a disservice. It's grown me lots of the green stuff. So a lot of nitrogen will do that, will give us a lot of the green stuff, but it's not done really anything for developing my bulbs. But like I said, They will flavour my food, and that's what it's all about, especially in a bed that's not going to be used over the winter anyway. Yay! Oh dear. Well, they are utterly tiddly and utterly pathetic, but because I can smell them, they smell really, really strong. So, I'll be grateful. I mean, maybe this just wasn't the right season for them here. Like I said, you know, being mild and wet. Maybe they don't like the soil here. Who knows? I'll try again this next winter coming. But I will certainly eat and enjoy these. So what I'll do in terms of for storing is I'll spread them out a bit further on this tray. This tray it's a slatted tray, so air can circulate. Just spread them out a bit, and because I know that we're not having any rain for the next week, they can stay out here, get really, 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 really dry. The green bits will go brown, what have you. I'll trim them down a bit, and then probably quite simply trim off the roots. For storing, I'll just put them in a string bag and probably hang them in the shed. The shed stays fairly cool compared with other parts of my place, but the main thing is it's not humid in there. So I've mentioned this in the past, especially if you braid your garlic into a lovely plait, a lovely braid, you might want to hang it in your kitchen, A, for convenience, but B, to sort of show off, look what I did. And I don't blame you, but the kitchen's just about the worst place to store them, because it tends to be warm and humid in the kitchen, and that will make them sprout. Normally that would be an issue if you want to store them for months and months and months on end. It's not. They're not going to last me months and months on end. There's about 40 there. I'll probably get through 2 a week. Hey, it's better than nothing. Yay! Right. Time to harvest something else, and hopefully something that's a little bit more substantial that can be part of my supper this evening. Here's hoping. I'm in with the broad beans. Yeah, look how big they got. Oh, just checking. Oh, there's one black fly on there. I'm hoping, yay, that a couple of pods. Sorry, you missed that. I'm hoping that a couple of pods may be big enough now to get a meal from. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh, I'll leave you a little bit longer. Don't go mad. I don't have to have them all off today. This is the best store cupboard for them. When harvesting, I've got my secateurs with me. I don't know why, because I don't use secateurs. Take hold of the bean and then hold the stem, and then just give the bean pod a yank downwards. It'll come off quite easily. I think I need to do some watering. Yeah, definitely. They're feeling a bit, the plants are feeling a little bit floppy in this heat and sunshine. No, you can wait. Well, you know what? That's more than enough for... Oh, just one more. That's more than enough for supper tonight. Right, let's have a sit and a pod. Oh, hang on a sec. No, I'm just feeling them to feel how fat the beans are in the pod. Yum yum. Oh, that's better. I think I needed the shade again for a second. Don't forget, lots of water. Lovely broad beans. Like I said, I've not taken a huge amount off. When they're really little, I don't have one to show you. When they're really little, really, you know, tiddly like this and really tender, you can actually eat the pod as well as, well, the beans won't have formed inside, but you can eat the whole thing. With the tops of the plants, if you nip out sort of 12 centimetres, 15 centimetre bit from the top, beautiful. If you have it just lightly steamed, maybe with a little bit of butter, so broad bean tops, gorgeous. Only if you don't have black fly. One of the reasons I like to plant in the autumn is so that the plants can get really big. Well, you've seen they're pretty big today by the time the black fly start arriving. So even if I get loads of black fly now, there's so much plant. I can take the top out and there's still masses of plant. There have been tons of flowers. The flowers have already been pollinated. Loads of teeny tiny little pods are forming all the way up. Whereas if I'd done a spring sowing, the plants by now, or yours might be huge, I don't know, depends on your climate, but your plants may only be, you know, a foot and a half tall. So if you're nipping the tops out, that's quite a chunk of the plant that you're having to nip out and get rid of. So yeah, have the tops, a little bit of butter, have the really young little beans tender, the whole bean. But once they're getting bigger, I mean, these aren't massive, so it's going to depend how big these beans are as to whether... Oh, that one's had a tiny bit of damage on the end. Isn't that a happy sight? The first beans of the year. See, I can tell from these I'm going to want to double skin them. By double skinning, all I mean is the first skinning is getting the pod off. The second skinning is I'll steam these, and then this outer skin will go wrinkly and grey and pretty yucky. Slip that off, and inside will be that bright, bright green jewel of a bean. Now, a lot of people can't be bothered with the second skinning. It's too much faff. I get that. But for me, this outer skin has a bitterness that I don't find particularly palatable, whereas the bean inside, this second skin, is so delicious. I think it's well worth it. If I'm making broad bean hummus, I would always second skin them, because then also you're getting a beautiful bright green hummus. So yeah, at that stage, that's what I would do. In terms of preserving, well, I will, you know, as the next couple of weeks go on, 2-3 weeks, I need to get them out because I need to put my tomatoes in. But as the next couple of weeks go on, I'll just be eating them fresh. I'll probably have a little handful most days because they're so delumptious. But then as it's coming to the end of the season and the end of the plant, just get them all harvested, get them all podded, and then I freeze them. And I don't do anything special. Literally like that. So forget the second skinning thing at the moment. Just get them out of the pods, get them into those little takeaway trays that I use, slam them in the freezer. I don't even blanch them. I always used to, but actually they're going to be eaten within the next 6 months or so. The blanching is not going to make really any difference. It's one faff factor removed, and then when it comes to cooking with them, out of the freezer and straight into the steamer, 10 minutes. The second skin goes wrinkly, get it off, pop it in, scrum, scrum, diddly-um. So yeah, that's how I store my excess, is in the freezer, no faff, no blanching, no faff, dead easy. Oh, can't wait. That lovely smell. It's that sort of, that combination of it's sort of earthy, but it's sort of green and sappy too. Lovely. Well, I'm really happy with that little lot for my supper. Gonna have one of those lettuces out. I won't have any garlic yet, but actually, you know, when I come to make some broad bean hummus, I'll use one of the garlic, and like I said, yeah, tiddler, that whole thing. Oh my goodness, the smell. I really, really wish I could give you scratch and sniff TV. I can't. Right, so the garlic are going to stay out here in the sun. I'm going to get the broad beans inside now so they don't start wilting in this heat. And then, oh yes, a treat. Treat time. My thinking is, if I have to work the whole bank holiday weekend, because I'm working all weekend, that's fine, because look, this is my office. But even so, I think I deserve a treat. And it's only a treat when it's very infrequent. The last time I had something of this ilk was when the chaps were here. That was about the 10th of April. I'm going to have myself a beer. I know some of you will know this Brown Star Pramen from Prague. It's a very nice beer. I'm being ladylike and not having it from the bottle. Oh, actually, having the beer suddenly reminds me. Hold on. Oh, it's so cold and so lovely. Look at that, look at the colour. Actually, because the sun's there, you won't. Anyway, I can see the lovely colour. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that's blooming gorgeous. Nothing quite like it on a Scorpio day. Yes, it suddenly reminded me, a few days ago when the weather was horrible, drizzling, I was just coming down the hill heading to the post office and I bumped into Angie and Pete. Hello Angie and Pete, two of my viewers who are here having a little break in Swanage. I felt so bad for them about the weather. I think they said they got one decent day in the end. If you've been here this week, you might have been too hot. But yeah, we just chatted on the street for a while and it was really lovely. It was so nice to meet you both. I can't remember how we got onto the subject, but Angie said something about a treat and she said, you know, get yourself this or that. She said, or maybe a pint. So you know what, Angie? That's exactly what I'm doing. But it's only a treat if it's infrequent. God, I'd be tempted to do this every day. In this weather, in this little corner of paradise that I get to call home and get to call my garden. Pigeons are going a bit mad. Yeah. Feeling very, very blessed. Very happy to be alive. Carpe diem. Cheers, everyone. I'm getting soporific. I've now got to go and chop all that brassica material. Editing first, uploading, etc, etc. Then I'll come back out in a couple of hours. It will cool down a little bit, but I'll sit on the other side of the garden as the sun comes around. It's going to come this way, and it's going to be beaming that way. A gorgeous thing happens at this time of year at about, it's about 8:30 in the evening. The Swanage is a valley, and Swanage Bay is at the east. Never eat shred of wheat, but it's reversed on camera. Swanage Bay is at the east end of a valley, and we've got the Purbeck Hills, and we've got Langton and the villages up there. So the sun rises here, and it sets at the other end of the valley. So as the sun sets, it's all the way down there. But there's a moment it comes between these two houses, all the way down the valley, between the two houses, and straight into my bedroom. It's gorgeous. The light is unbelievable. I did try 2 nights ago. I tried to film it. It just can't capture it. I mean, nothing captures something as well as human eyeballs do. But yeah, I mean, the camera was just like, what do you want me to do? It's really bright. I'm going to darken things to cope with the brightness, and then all the colour goes. Anyway, you just have to trust me on it. I have Swanage Henge at about 8:30 at night at the moment, and it's gorgeous. These little moments each day, these are the things, aren't they, that just make life so blooming glorious. The birds, Swanage Henge at 8:30, a beer in a garden that you've wanted for years and years and years. La vita è bella. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you again soon in the next one. The next one I actually filmed last week when it was still chilly, and in part of the video I've got a hot water bottle. I kid you not. The difference is astonishing in just a few days. Well, you all know that, those of you who live in the UK. I'm waffling. Go away. I'm having my beer. Until the next one, cheerio, lovelies.